Hey there, welcome back. In this lesson, we're diving into an essential topic in AWS networking, security groups and network access control lists, NACLs. Some people pronounce it NACLs. If you've ever wondered how AWS controls which traffic can reach your resources and what gets blocked, then this lesson is for you. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand what security groups and NACLs are, how they work together to protect your AWS resources, and when to use security groups versus when to use NACLs. Let's get started. So, what are security groups? A security group acts as a virtual firewall that protects your AWS resources by controlling which traffic is allowed in and which traffic is allowed out. Think of it like the security at the entrance of an office building. Only authorized individuals can get in, and if you're inside, it determines if you are allowed to leave. Here's how security groups work. They are attached to individual resources directly, such as EC2 instances or other AWS services like RDS databases and load balancers. By default, they block all inbound traffic, meaning no one can access your resource unless you specifically allow it. However, all outbound traffic is allowed, meaning anything inside can send traffic outside unless you block it. Every security group has security group rules. Each security group has two sets of rules. The first one is inbound rules. These control who can connect to your instance. For example, if you're running a website, you'd allow HTTP traffic on port 80 so visitors can access it. Or if you need to connect to a server via SSH for remote access, you'd allow SSH on port 22, and you can ensure the rule allows access only from your own IP address and no other IP will be able to access it. The second is the outbound rules. These control what your instance can reach outside. For example, if your application needs to connect to a database, you'd allow outbound traffic to the database's IP address. As a side note, there is one important thing about security groups you need to be aware of. When an outbound request is sent out from a resource such as EC2 instance, the response is automatically allowed back in, even if the inbound rule doesn't explicitly allow it. This is because security groups remember outgoing requests and let the replies come back. Hence, this concept is commonly referred to as statefulness. Always remember that security groups are stateful, while NACLs are stateless. Now let's take a close look at network ACLs or NACLs. If security groups act like security at the front door, NACLs are like security at the main entrance to an entire neighborhood. Instead of controlling access to each individual house or instance, NACLs control access to the whole neighborhood. In the case of AWS, we're talking about the subnets. Here's how NACLs work. They are attached to subnets, not instances. They allow and deny specific traffic, meaning you can explicitly block traffic, which you cannot do with security groups. With security groups, if a rule is missing, the request is denied by default. It doesn't have its own specific way of denying a configured traffic. But NACLs does. NACLs check traffic based on numbered rules, and it is done in an order. The lowest number gets checked first, and once a match is found, no other rules are evaluated. Think of it like a priority list at an airport security checkpoint. If a traveler has VIP clearance, Rule 100, and is allowed through, security won't bother checking the rest of their credentials. Similarly, with network access control list, if a packet matches an allow or deny rule early in the list, it immediately stops checking further rules. This means that the order of your rules is critical. If you place a deny rule before an allow rule, the traffic will be blocked, even if there's an allow rule further down the list. Let's explore a typical example. If the first rule is configured to Rule 100, deny all traffic from 203.0.113.0/24, and the next rule configured as Rule 200, allow SSH port 22 from all sources. The result will be SSH from the IP range in Rule 100 is blocked because the deny rule 100 is evaluated first. The allow rule 200 is never checked. Now, what if the order were reversed? Rule 100, allow SSH port 22 from all sources. Rule 200, deny all traffic from 203.0.113.0/24. Pause the video and write down what you think the result will be. Okay, if you noted down that SSH is allowed even for the IP CIDR block that is meant to be blocked, then you are correct, because the allow rule was checked first. Unlike security groups, NACLs are stateless and do not remember outgoing requests. So if you allow inbound traffic, you must also explicitly allow outbound responses. Now that we've covered both, let's compare them. Security groups control traffic at the instance level, while NACLs control traffic at the subnet level. Security groups only allow traffic, while NACLs can both allow and deny traffic. Security groups apply to instances, while NACLs apply to everything in the subnet. Security groups remember outgoing requests and allow responses, while NACLs require explicit rules for both inbound and outbound traffic. Security groups evaluate all rules before making a decision, while NACLs process rules in order from lowest to highest and stop at the first match. In simple terms, use security groups when you need to control access to specific instances. Use NACLs when you need broader control at the subnet level, like blocking traffic from an entire IP range before it even reaches your security groups. Let's take an example to see how both security groups and NACLs work together. Imagine you're hosting a website on AWS. The web server is in a public subnet. Security group allows HTTP port 80 and SSH port 22 from the internet. NACLs allows web traffic port 80 but blocks SSH except from a trusted admin IP. The database is in a private subnet. Security group allows database traffic only from the web server. NACL blocks all inbound traffic except from the public subnet. This setup ensures that the web server is publicly accessible but only for allowed traffic. The database is never exposed to the internet. Unwanted traffic is blocked at both the instance and subnet levels. In this lesson, we covered security groups as instance-level firewalls that control traffic for specific AWS resources, network ACLs as subnet-level firewalls that provide broader control over traffic, the key differences between security groups and NACLs, how both work together to secure AWS environments. Up next, we're going hands-on. I'll walk you through creating security groups and applying them to instances, configuring NACL rules to allow and deny specific traffic, testing connectivity to see these rules in action. I'd see you in the next lesson.